Okay, thank you. My name is Daniel Krook. I'm a developer advocate and software engineer for IBM. Today I'm going to talk a bit about the Cloud Native Computing Foundation, and in particular talk about the goals of the CNCF, what the CNCF is doing to help drive serverless adoption, and how you can get involved in the Serverless Working Group to help improve the state of serverless. I don't work for the CNCF, I don't represent them, but I'm a member of the Serverless Working Group, which anybody can join. So, the CNCF, it's an organization that was, there we go. Sorry, it was an organization created to support and promote software that helps developers create new types of distributed applications, cloud-native applications. So it provides a home for a bunch of projects and runs events like KubeCon for Kubernetes, supports meetups, and provides certification for customers that might want to, for providers that provide containers as a service, or developers that want to build out Kubernetes skills, for example. It's not a standards body per se, and it doesn't pick any winners in terms of the projects that are incubated there. Its goal is to really help them build out their communities and become better software. The CNCF has close to 200 members already. The community is rapidly growing, and I took this snapshot last Thursday. There's probably even more sponsors or participants, and that includes most of the Platinum members have a serverless platform, an open source project they support, and there's plenty of other partners that are consumers of that technology as well. So everybody is in the same community trying to advance cloud-native technologies as a creator of services or as a consumer of them. There's 16 projects in the CNCF right now. The most probably well-known is Kubernetes. It was the first one that was put in there. And these projects are either in a state of incubating, which is a more mature state, or inception, where they've just been voted in and they're starting to get the feedback and the resources in order to grow their projects further. Kubernetes is actually pretty interesting as it comes to serverless, because most of the open source serverless functions as a service platforms integrate with Kubernetes in some way. So Apache OpenWhisk, Kubeless, Fission, and OpenFaaS, they all have some support and interaction with Kubernetes that we like to see improved. So all these projects in the CNCF, but there are no serverless projects yet in there. Now, we'll see how that turns out in the future, but currently there are none. You may also know the CNCF is the producer of this huge landscape document for cloud-native applications. It's grown quite exponentially, and there's a small area really just covering where serverless fits in relative to all these other technologies. It doesn't specify exactly how they integrate in a reference architecture, but it shows all the projects out there, and you can see the ones that are in this architecture as part of the CNCF already. If you do have your own brand new project starting up or service, you can submit a pull request against the CNCF GitHub and get this architecture updated so it continues to be a landscape of what's available out there to folks. And within the CNCF itself, there's a set of working groups. There's 4 currently right now. The continuous integration one provides infrastructure for those incubating and inception projects, things that let them do automated builds, let them deploy out across a test cluster that it manages. There's a networking working group that's defined as specification, CNI, for network connectivity between containers. There's a similar specification created by the storage working group for allowing uniform access from container orchestration platforms to any sort of data storage on the back end. And finally, this newest one is the Serverless Working Group, and the goals there are to raise awareness of what serverless applications can do, how they relate to other projects, other cloud-native software, and helping build interoperability between those projects and things like observability tools. The Serverless Working Group itself started up about 8 months ago, and it's had participation from lots of different companies, and probably just about everybody that you see outside as a sponsor. They've been participating in that group. And we've been working on a few activities, building a white paper, defining serverless, working on an event specification, and working on capturing a state of the serverless landscape. So the white paper actually, there was just a press release that went out yesterday. It's finally in a version 1 state. It's been published on GitHub in Markdown. So we invite you to take a look at it, review it, and submit pull requests to improve that. Make sure that it isn't just a static document, particularly when it comes to serverless, that it's something that evolves rapidly to reflect the state of what people are building with serverless and why it makes sense in a lot of cases. It also has a section on how serverless compares against platform as a service, such as Cloud Foundry or OpenShift, or the orchestration technologies like Mesos or Kubernetes, and lays out a bunch of use cases showing when you might use serverless versus one of those technologies. And it also provides a list of use cases, I think similar to what Frederick mentioned, showing how customers have already proven value with serverless. So moving beyond introductory concepts towards this is what people have built with it. The other thing we've been working on more recently, since Serverless Conf in October, 4 months ago, is creating, like CNI and CSI for networking and storage, a common event specification. And it's intended to be something very simple, based on existing best practices in more complex event models. You can find the work ongoing here at cloudevents.org, and the goal here is really to make functions as a service implementations or serverless platforms interoperable with one another, and that helps. And with the specification, you can build tooling and increase how well these things work together. And you'll see these cloud events stickers at each of the booths of the folks involved in the project. We are also building out, currently, the newest thing is building out that serverless landscape. So we've got a Google Doc you can find through the GitHub repo. So as new projects come out, we try to keep track of them here so that an end user has an understanding of what's available to them, and that we don't duplicate effort. In case we have too many projects maybe working on something very similar, they can look and find other similar capabilities and maybe join those projects instead. So we invite you to update this. And the other areas in the future, 2018, we want to continue to build out sample applications, show how serverless is being used, and documenting how those serverless applications can work with the CNCF tools like Linkerd and other tools for monitoring operations. And we may also look at other areas where we can add value, such as a common packaging or definition model for your actions and dependent services, based on SAM or whisk deploy, something like that. So there's lots of other directions this working group can go in, so we want participation from the community. Okay, so today if you just go to GitHub, you can find that white paper, version 1. You can join. We do weekly calls at 6 p.m. Central European Time, noon Eastern US time. Take a look at the event spec, make sure it covers kind of what you would expect from a model, and update the landscape as you see new projects evolve that you're interested in and you think other people should be using as well. Okay, thank you very much. I've got the slides online. Appreciate it.